Here are 7 recently published thriller/mystery books that I think are worth your time. Someone Who Knows by J.L. Ross follows Sarah, whose mother had this unique ability to know things that she shouldn't know, but it wasn't enough to stop her own unaliving. Now, Sarah just wants to be normal, but she has her own unique ability. She can see through the eyes of a sadistic serial unaliver. Will Sarah have the courage to embrace her ability and stop this unaliver? A Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young follows James, who hasn't been back to her hometown for a very long time, but unfortunately her twin brother Johnny has died under suspicious circumstances, so now she goes back to her hometown to get to the bottom of it. But the thing is, James hasn't talked to Johnny in quite a bit, so she doesn't really know anything about who he is as a person now. So what secrets will she uncover about his life that led to his demise? Mirror House Girls by Faith Gardner is available on Kindle Unlimited, and it follows a girl named Winona who meets this girl at a grief group, and this girl invites her to join her family, and this family lives in a sort of infamous house that is covered in mirrors. Pretty much immediately, Winona realizes that the house leader kind of has these weird protocols for self-improvement. Things go from weird to disturbing, and the Mirror House Girls become the focus of a true crime documentary. Tell Me What You Did by Carter Wilson follows Poe, and she has a podcast where people call in and admit their wrongdoings, and it's called Tell Me What You Did. Sadly, years ago, Poe lost her mother to an unaliver, and she knows exactly who that person is. So when one day a guy calls in and says that he is actually the person who unalived her mom, Poe knows this isn't the case. So what's up with this guy? The Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage by Asia McKay follows 2 serial unalivers who are now married and they have a child, and they have decided together that they are going to give up their serial unaliver life to be good parents. Parenthood is going well for these two. They've given up the unaliving and they're on the straight and narrow, but temptation calls and one of them slips up. Cross My Heart by Megan Collins follows Rosie, who just received a life-saving heart transplant, and she believes that her donor is the wife of a local celebrity. Wanting to know more about her donation, she contacts the husband of the donor through the donor portal, and they spark up a friendship. But then it turns out that the public believes that this man had something to do with his wife's death, and now Rosie may be in way over her head. Beetle Ugly by Alice Feeney follows a writer named Grady who's on the phone with his wife, and then there's a screeching of the brakes, and then there's silence. He goes to the scene and she has vanished, but her car is totally fine. It's now a year later, and Grady is still overcome with grief, and he decides to go to this little Scottish island to look for inspiration for his next book when he sees something that he would have never expected to see. Someone who happens to look exactly like his missing wife.